What does it take to put your name on the ballot as a candidate? We spend a lot of time on this show talking about how you, as a resident, can engage with your government. But sometimes the most direct way to serve is as an elected official. With the 2026 election cycle about to begin, many of you might be wondering what it actually takes to transition from concerned citizen to formal candidate. I'm Katie Smith with Greater Good Greenville, and on this episode of Simple Civics Greenville County, we lay out the complete roadmap for filing for office in South Carolina. Joining me is our producer, Nathaniel DeSantis, and together we aim to demystify the process, including the 3 key documents you need to file. We'll cover the statement of candidacy, the filing fees, and the critical statement of economic interests. And we'll point you to many previous episodes we've done that are a candidate's how-to manual. Even if you don't plan to run, this episode will give you insight into how a candidate becomes an elected official.
Welcome back to Simple Civics, Greenville County. I'm Nathaniel DeSantis, the producer of the podcast, and we spend a lot of time on the podcast talking about how you, as a resident, can engage with government. But sometimes the most direct way to serve is to actually put your name on the ballot. And with the 2026 election on the horizon, many of you might be wondering what it actually takes to transition from a concerned resident to a formal candidate. And so to help us navigate the paperwork and the process, which is honestly, it's really pretty simple, I promise. To help us with that, though, we're joined by the regular host and civic expert, Katie Smith. Katie, great to have you on the other side of the mic.
Thanks so much, Nathaniel. We have done this every so often, and I always love these conversations because it makes me learn too and get to convey information. And honestly, any one of us who meets the very basic eligibility requirements can run for office, so it shouldn't feel like a secret club. And we feel like the more people who understand how to file, the stronger our democracy becomes.
I completely agree. And so let's start with the basics. Let's say I've decided to run for a local office like county council or a seat at the state house, right? Where is the starting line for me?
The very first step is you have to be eligible to run by being a qualified elector, meaning you're a registered voter. So check your status at scvotes.gov. What this means is you are a U.S. citizen, you are at least 18 years of age, although a couple seats like state senate require for you to be 25 years of age. And critically, you have to be registered to vote in the specific district you want to represent, in other words, where you live.
So I know that on the other side of it, when I'm going to vote, there's a 30-day registration deadline for me to vote in an election. Is that the same when I'm running for something? So now I want to file. Is there a deadline or something that I have to do in order to legally file my candidacy?
It could be a point of confusion, but there is not a waiting period that you have to have been registered a certain number of days to vote before you can file to run, which I will say seems kind of strange. Like, I'd hope you have been a voter if you're deciding to run for an office, unless maybe you're a brand new 18-year-old who's getting right involved. But you do have to be a registered voter at the moment you file your paperwork. So if you aren't registered by the time you walk into that elections office during the filing window in March, you can't file.
Okay, and just to confirm, since this is coming out in 2026, when is that specific filing window?
For partisan offices, which are many of our offices in Greenville County and in the state, the filing period opens on noon of March 16th of any given year, and it closes on March 30th of any given year, or the 31st if that's a weekend. And if you're not on the rolls by then, you're out of luck for this cycle. And this episode is posting right in the middle of that time period. So you still can run out and file to run if you're hearing this in that week before March 30th.
You got a few days left.
Exactly.
And if they are so inspired by us to go out and run, what is the physical process like? Where am I going? What am I bringing?
Yes, for most local and county level offices, you are headed to the Greenville County Board of Elections and Voter Registration, which is at the time of this recording located at McAllister Square at 225 South Pleasantburg Drive. And when you go, you'll need 3 things. One is the statement of candidacy. It's a formal declaration form. You'll have to pay filing fees, which is usually around 1 to 2% of the office's annual salary. And you'll have a statement of economic interest, which is filed electronically with the State Ethics Commission. And that's a transparency document that shows where your income comes from, so voters can spot any potential conflicts of interest. Now, some of these you're filing with the Election Commission directly, but 2 quick notes. One is that you personally, if you are the candidate, you don't have to file. You can send someone in your place. So someone can come with a notarized statement and do it for you.
But so you have to have it notarized, though.
Yes.
Okay.
So, I mean, if you think about it, like, is Lindsey Graham walking in? Maybe he is.
Yeah.
If so,
Yeah.
the president, people file to run for president. They have to fill out a form.
Right.
Just
Okay.
like this. I don't know if Trump and Biden and whoever will be coming around, Kamala Harris.
Kind of funny imagining them having to go do
Right.
that.
Well, they go and vote in person, so I suppose they might walk their form in
Yeah.
themselves, but someone can do it in your place. And that when you are running for a partisan office, you should be checking with the party in whose primary you are running, because sometimes they have rules and regulations that you need to check in on. And if you're listening and you're wondering what I mean by that, in Greenville County, our county council seats are all partisan. So you can file to run as a Republican, a Democrat, Green Party, whatever it may be. But our school board elections are, as of the time of this recording, nonpartisan. So you're not being a part of this primary that we're talking about right now, for which you have to file from March 16th through March 30th. You're going to be filing later in the summer, if that's the case for you. So if you're wondering why I said at the time of this recording about school board races, very often there is a bill filed that wants to make those elections partisan. And that is actually, as of the time of this recording, true. There is a bill filed to make Greenville County school board races partisan. Only 2 school districts have partisan races in South Carolina. Most are nonpartisan because people feel like education shouldn't be connected to party. We did an episode a long time ago about school board races.
Yeah.
We can find that deep in the archive and link that here.
We'll do that. One point of clarification that listeners might be wondering. You mentioned that there's a statement of economic interest.
Yes.
That is electronically filed with the state. Are you filing that electronically, or when I go to Greenville County Board of Elections and voter registration, they file it on my behalf?
You are filing that yourself. It's something you have to do, so it's on the checklist, but it's a separate process from this. And last year, we did an episode on financial disclosures.
Yes, we did.
With Lee McCall, and so we can link that too. That is a place that candidates can very easily get tripped up, especially for these local offices.
Yes.
This is very high-level detail for you listeners. We don't want you to get in trouble if you're only listening to our words and you're ready to go run for county council.
Yeah.
So we'll put a couple of links in the show notes that can help point you in the right direction for these different things. But of course, do your own careful research and talk to smart people who can help you.
Okay. So I've done my research. I've talked to smart people who can help me. I filed. I'm registered. The paperwork is in. But as we heard on an episode we did called Resolve to Get Involved, which was a long time ago. It was actually a series that we did very early on in Simple Civics. Just being on the ballot is not enough. So what's your first piece of advice for a new candidate?
Do not wait until you're elected to learn how this body you're running for functions.
Smart.
If you are running for county council, you should be at every meeting and work session for the 6 months or so before you file. Read the budget, learn how it works. Listen to lots of Simple Civics episodes.
Oh, yeah.
Get very familiar with what you are getting ready to do. And not just the content of it, but just what the nature of the work is. I want to say to you guys, it is a little disappointing to me when we reach out to candidates to come on, because we interview all candidates who are willing to join us.
A lot of them.
And they tell me, I'm really too busy to do this. I mean, hardly anybody does that.
It's happened, though. I know.
Occasionally it has happened. And I get it. Like, no one has to come on this podcast.
Yeah.
But like, you're about to get super, super busy if you win this race.
Yeah.
And so, yes, running for office is busy, but the job is busy. So get really familiar, first of all, with what it is you're getting ready to do.
I'll also add that I know one of the biggest issues is that some people might say like they don't have the time to attend these meetings, which first of all, I don't know if you should run because you're going to have to go to them. Like you're going to have to run the meetings. But if you can't, they are online, correct? Like
That's true.
You can watch them. So you can still watch it.
That is very true.
So I think getting FaceTime is more important, but just understanding it, watching it is helpful. And we did an episode with newly elected officials. I can't remember exactly who it was, but they came on and kind of talked about like what it was like once they won for the first time. This was their first ever term serving in an elected office. And give a listen to that episode too, because that was really enlightening.
Yes, I think that's a really great point. And yes, I mean, the meetings are live streamed for these bodies, so you can watch it in real time. You can watch old recordings of them on these different, city council, county council school board websites. But being there in real life gets you the real feel of what you're about to expect. So all of those things are great.
Yes. And then we've also talked about the quote, infrastructure of a campaign. So who do I need in my corner?
Yes. I mean, you can try to do it by yourself for sure, but the bigger the footprint, geographic footprint you're running for, it really helps to have a kitchen cabinet of sorts. A treasurer to handle those quarterly ethics reports is very helpful because, as you'll hear in the episode, if you go back and listen to it about ethics filing, you're going to have to report every dollar you spend once you hit $500. And $500 can be spent in a minute running for any office with postcards and yard signs. You will probably want a campaign manager to keep you on a schedule of knocking on doors and who you're meeting with and meet and greets you're going to. And this can honestly be a friend, it can be a family member, but just someone other than you and your busy brain to help you keep straight on things.
Yeah. And if you don't have those people in your corner, that's basically that's the role you to take on is the person running for office, the treasurer, and the campaign manager all in one, which is a little bit daunting. It's doable, but it is a little bit daunting.
Yeah.
Katy, you mentioned a campaign manager to help with your schedule, make sure you're knocking on doors. Is that still in the age of, AI and social media and the internet, is that still the gold standard?
It really is. I mean, voters want to see you. And you can imagine probably a lot of you have never met the person who represents you, even for a very local office. So it makes a difference when someone comes and knocks on your door and says, "Hi, what are you worried about? Here's what I'm interested in." So that is great. And then, you can use much more advanced tools. And I say I'm talking about a county council member can get a digital map of high propensity voters, like those people that never miss a primary, to go and interact particularly with them. You need to craft your message, have your one sentence why you're running ready. Because if you can't explain why you're running in the time it takes for someone to open their front door, that's a little bit concerning. Have your messaging ready for your print materials. You should have a website. You should have a Facebook page.
Yeah, door hangers.
The ways that people can know who you are and remember you when they're going to vote.
I've mentioned this on the podcast so many times, but I've worked for a lot of different campaigns, and a lot of times when people would answer the doors, first they'd be a little bit annoyed, which, get used to that, honestly. But then the other thing is after they would be annoyed, they would be like, okay, you have 30 seconds to tell me about it. And then I'm going back to live my life. So when you say have your one sentence why ready, seriously, have that ready because people they'll give you a 30-second deadline and they'll close that door right on you. So get your message out in 30 seconds and then have a door hanger to hand them that has the rest of the big message on it. Yeah. Some people will say no thank you, but most people take it. So keep that in mind. Okay. Not all of our listeners are running, but there are a lot of listeners who aren't running but want to know who is running. So how can they look up who has actually filed? Is there a central hub where they can see all this?
Yes, there is. Now, this is exactly what we will be doing the minute filing closes. And we will be bringing you an episode March 31st or thereabout. We'll let you know who we see on this list. But you can go to the State Election Commission's website, scvotes.gov, and there's a candidate tracking tool. You can go on there and search by election date and office and see a live updated list of every person who has officially turned in their paperwork. And it'll show you their name, what office they're seeking, what party they're running with. It's the best way to keep tabs of what local races are contested and what seats are open. And there are a lot of people who are contemplating running that monitor that super closely.
Yeah.
And we have heard stories a couple times on this that some people kind of just hang out at 11 a.m. on the day filing closes to say, okay, is there anyone better planning to run? And if not, then I'll throw my hat in the ring at 11:58 a.m. And so you can go and it's a very interesting way to see what's getting ready to happen.
That's so interesting to me. All right. Well, if someone feels that urge to run in 2026 because of us, obviously, what should they do right now, today?
Well, if you really have not done any thinking about this until now, and we've so inspired you with 1 week or about left for filing for the 2026 partisan primaries, go to scvotes.gov, make sure your registration is current, look at the candidate information section for specific qualifications, connect with the party that you're planning to run for, go deep in the archives of whatever that seat is you're looking for, look at their meetings and get familiar. But At this date, what I would most urge you to do is to get connected to a candidate who supports the things that you support and really help them out as they run to be your voice in that office and get yourself ready for the next time available to run.
All right. Well, there you have it. I think that's the end of the episode. Any closing thoughts?
This is our most favorite season. I mean, I love this election season because I am just so moved by every person who raises their hand to serve their community. We love bringing them in for candidate interviews, which we will be doing this spring until early voting opens so that you can get to meet them. It just means so much. So thank you for listening and staying plugged in, and thanks for getting ready to take part in the 2026 election season.
Hi, Simple Civics Greenville County listeners, Nathaniel here. If you've made it this far, then we think you'll really love our newsletter. Sign up for bonus content, updates, and more right in your inbox. Look for the link in the description that says newsletter to sign up, or visit us at simpleCivicsGreenvilleCounty.org. Find the link in the menu that says newsletter and sign up there. We'll see you again next week.